Good day. Welcome to Fun with Flags.
Welcome to Weekly Rations. Meet the Neighbours, episode 1.
Hello, I'm a neighbour.
This is a neighbour. Well, let's just call him that for now.
A neighbour.
So, we're not meeting the flags tonight, but there's plenty of flags to find. A wee while ago I was at a house party down the street and I realised that at least 3 people in my street have actually got piles of vinyl, as well as myself. So, never really talked much about vinyl itself with these boys, just lots of music chatting over the years. And I decided to finally get a couple of wee videos shot. So last year he lent me a couple of records. So quickly flashback them. First one I wanted to talk about was this. I looked at your record collection and I've seen lots and lots and lots of classic 60s and 70s rock, and plenty of other alternatives, absolutely plenty of other stuff. But this one absolutely threw me because I didn't expect to see, the first golf record ever, really effectively.
Well, I suppose it is.
That's what
it isn't, but I mean, yeah.
I
didn't look at what it was that. I just looked at what was a really interesting band with what they were doing.
So you'd heard of them before you bought it, or heard after?
First came across Bauhaus in the David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve movie. What was it called? The Hunger.
Oh, okay.
Vampire movie. Their Bauhaus appears essentially the opening act in a bar in New York, playing Bela Lugosi's Dead, and it was just a fantastic show. And I just really got hooked on the track Bela Lugosi's Dead, which got me into Bauhaus, and when I got some of their sounds and really enjoyed them.
Well, for me, the surprise about it was because I've known about this band for a long time, but I've never bothered listening to them.
Really?
So I just have never listened to them. One of those bands you read an article about, but I never really had anybody who was into them when I was a teenager or whatever else. So for me, listening to this for the first time was the day that I stuck this record on up at my house, and I was like, holy fuck, what is that? What is going on here? A couple of minutes in, because completely listened to it, but it was, I don't know, maybe doing something on the computer, and the next thing you know, it all stopped, and I was like, what is this record? Yeah,
well, I mean, of course, Bowie heavily worked a heck of a lot with them and was heavily influenced by them. I can't remember what.
That's just a 12-inch.
That's just a 12-inch.
Yeah.
Somewhere there is, I don't know where it is.
Small Wonder Records.
So I have another the Bauhaus LP, and I suppose it's sad in one way, but they did a cover of Spiders from Mars. And you cannot believe it's not Bowie. And Bowie worked a lot with them, and a couple of other Bowie numbers, but Spiders from Mars, I mean, you just go, good grief, it's Bowie again.
Yeah.
I just find them cheerfully alternative and on an edge that I liked.
Yeah, they seemed really, really dark, and you can see how much they're a template for a lot of bands came along behind them, and quite rightly so. So
yeah, and I would advise anyone. Bela Lugosi's Dead, fantastic track. See if you can get the first opening 10 minutes of The Hunger, and then you'll really understand, because their stage show is just to die for.
Another one from the pile that I've had a good listen through from yours.
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits. Really, really enjoyed this record too. Everybody, listens to Tom Waits at some point and kind of gets into him, and the man really knows what he's doing. He is living his own life.
Yeah, but I mean, it's same thing. I mean, it's American beat poetry. I mean, it's that whole history of the song talking story, the that sort of almost like blues expression, only in a sort of in a more poetic manner.
Yes, it's like the Jackie Kerouac's school of music.
Yeah.
Only just being a beat, and trying to live that alternative lifestyle, but actually, they're supposed to be, almost zen-like at times too, with the poetry and being able to step above what's going on in America. But they're all failures and drunks, really.
Well,
most beats.
That's the whole point of being a beat.
That's why you're inspired to be a beat, I think.
Oh God, yes.
It's a teenage thing, and you're reading all those books, and you're like, those guys are living the dream.
And Tom Waits hasn't changed. He's still singing the same stuff now that he was then, really. Oh, you have
Okie
to.
by JJ Cale.
Oh, yes, you have to.
So that's when
Twangy guitars.
the first dip through your collection, you know, and you do see then, you know, that kind of different side of your personality coming out, shall we say? You know, where you've done the classic rock and you've done that what you're expected to have done, but you know, there's wee sights into your psyche, you know, all these kind of records coming out that weren't there at the start. You know, you get through the first couple of bunches and you're like, you know, I know him, you know, I know that guy, and then everything's going left.
Thank you very much for that. It's just, yeah, it was an important thing to listen to him. I remember he appeared, I suppose, God, when was it? It would have been the early 80s.
Yes.
To me, really.
Oh, to you, yeah, this album, 74.
Oh, 74, maybe it was earlier than that. It's hard to remember. If you can remember the 1970s, you're unfortunately in them.
Well, we talked earlier about how you admitted you haven't heard anything since 1980.
Yeah.
No, not quite as drastic as that, but it's such a thing that happens to everybody. At some point, you know, your life becomes too busy to be buying music or whatever, you know.
But music was the escape. I mean, I was a late comer to vinyl and music and records because my folks didn't listen. They didn't have a record player or anything else at home, and I think I'd saved up and moaned and moaned and moaned, and I think it was my 13th or 14th birthday. I got this dance set mono player with the lid and the arm and a little handle you could carry it about, and my parents, it was given to me as a present, and they also, one piece of vinyl, because about that to work out, there's not much point giving the lad a record player unless he has a record to play.
True, it's like
Clever chap.
getting a wallet without a pound in it.
So they actually got me it was Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album, which I suppose was quite...
That's a bit far out.
Not bad. I listened to that assiduously for at least 3 days until I got my pocket money and ran downtown as fast as I possibly could, on the bus of course, to the gramophone shop opposite the City Hall. It's long since gone. And purchased for possibly £2.50 maybe, which was big money then. Led Zeppelin 1. My life began.
So I was going to ask, did you know what you were going for that day?
Yeah.
See, that's good, you know. You consider that a late arrival, but you just arrived in style.
Well, no, I just arrived in and went, right, I knew what I wanted. And it was just splendid, and the gramophone shop was great because it was that old, seen it in old movies really. Could you put that on and I'll go to booth number 3 and listen to it, and I just listened for ages and went, yeah, right, that's it. Unlocked myself in my room for about 3 days.
And thus began adolescence.
Thus began adolescence, looking, and then really about basically once a month I'd buy another album, and of course I just followed the track and collected all the Zeppelin and stuff first of all, and then from that really I got into Hendrix. I don't know how that segued into Hendrix, but it did really, and it started.
Just probably time over 2 years or
well,
whatever.
I'm running. There's only so much back catalogue stuff with Zeppelin you could buy at that stage.
Well, you know, I love the way you have the ability to make your sound quite romantic, whereas mine is the most embarrassing thing, you know. So my brothers, family, mum, there's always music about, and my brothers are both into cock rock.
Mm.
So unfortunately, you know, when I hit that exact age, it was, you know, their influence. So while I was lucky and they had their Metallica and their Megadeth, but they had a lot of Bon Jovi. And I have told this story before, but I'll quickly...
Shiny suits.
You know, so that first record for me was, to my memory, the first single off New Jersey. So it must have been the one with a blue sleeve, for the name thankfully is gone. So it took me maybe a year to break out of that. So while it gave me a lot of good influence, fuck's sake, like, could that have made me buy a Metallica record just for that first one, and at least I don't have to talk to this camera being embarrassed about it.
I'm sorry about that, it's not my fault. It's just one of those things you're going to have to grin and bear.
So follow on from your story.
Yeah, and I mean the Zeppelin itself. I mean it was tremendously seditious at the time. I mean there was. I mean Zeppelin 1 and 2 and 3. 3 was sort of popular and a lot of people knew about it. Zeppelin 1 and 2. 2 indeed.
I think it's.
You know, wasn't popular because there was a time, you know, when everyone listened to a song or music or whatever, there's Zeppelin 1. The world suddenly turned on to Zeppelin and argued that Zeppelin 4 was the best album ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid Zeppelin 4 is the point for me where I'm losing Zeppelin.
This one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Stairway to Heaven, everyone knew and played and danced to and pretended to play guitars, and that's dreadful. That's Physical Graffiti.
Is that?
That's after they've been to Kashmir.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So, I wonder, did you buy this when it came out then? Is this that copy that you were talking about, probably?
Yeah, that's the first.
Like when you were...
Yeah, but no, that came out in about 67 or 69. So
right. For a while.
Yeah, I bought that in about 72. Yeah, I would have bought that in about 72 because I managed to get to see them in Earl's Court in 74, which was just fantastic.
So you must have been, what, 18 or?
No, yeah, 16, 17. So me and a mate Tony wrote in, the concert was coming up, we wrote in to the NME, sent off a postal order. Folks, if you can remember what a postal order is, a post office check in the post, the NME, and we got 3 tickets. And there was another guy who was going to go with us and he couldn't go. And as it turned out, we sold his ticket on our night at Earl's Court, and we actually made a profit in the whole trip, bed and breakfast and London flights.
By selling one ticket?
By selling one ticket.
Would that have been an early example to you to move into the music business? And
yes, the scalping business. Let's go and scalp everyone. No, we just thought it was great. You know, it was accidental. And we thought, oh, this is bollocks. You know, we've got this extra ticket. What do we do? And we hadn't really thought it out. And some guy was looking for tickets, and I can't remember what it was.
So he offered you because you were naive going into this, thinking if I could
get
value,
double the amount we got off him. But no, he was really good. I mean, he gave us a fair offer, which just
it must have been obviously like so.
It was just blew us away, and we then returned back to Belfast after the trip, wearing patched denim jeans with patched denim jackets, and my father went insane. Second-hand clothes, oh good. You paid money for rubbish. That was great. Those days were lovely.
So the rebellion phase started?
The rebellion phase started. But for me, the best Zeppelin work is Zeppelin 1, 2 and 3.
Okay. Which is, a lot of people probably still about some bands, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, these are essentially when Zeppelin were rewriting, in my mind, Black American rhythm and blues that came off the Chitlin circuit and tightening it up. I mean, they're incredibly tight band, and then essentially creating the British rock sound. And I just like that. But there's the hard rock aspects of it. Yet then there's the folksy aspects of the acoustic guitar sets and Braun Noir and all the other stuff in Zeppelin 3 that really is just sort of they're up in the Welsh hills with Roy Harper having fun, and it's really nice. And then the band essentially from then on is just a hard rock show band in a way.
So you think, like, effectively at that stage then they nailed it?
Oh, they nailed it. They nailed it, and it's like I suppose it's like a group of people. They nailed it. They nailed the musical type. They got it right. Probably to them it got stale. They wanted to go off in other directions, and the directions they went in just for me didn't work.
I like about bands sometimes is that learning experience over the space of a couple of albums, and then once they can coherently play their instruments and write a song, and then sometimes from then on it kind of gets boring because they don't do anymore, or you have other bands that keep personally.
I mean, Zeppelin tried Kashmir. I mean, Kashmir is a complete change and with sort of huge Indian influence, and there's a couple of good tunes that I really like. And I've seen the Kashmir stage show. Presence. Well, I think everyone was a great attitude with Presence that we didn't really know what they were doing. And really, that's it. We we knew the band were trying something, but I wasn't buying into it. I don't think a lot of people were. I think it really stopped since Zeppelin 4 to a large degree. Well, Houses of the Holy, possibly.
Yeah.
Which has one of the most bizarre reggae numbers you've ever heard in your life.
It's the only one I've ever really listened to, and it was only because of the sleeve. You know,
Yeah.
you know, oh, okay, you know, that's our country, but
No, it's not actually, it's Scotland.
oh, is it?
Yeah, that's just off, it's the island's just off Oban. I can't really remember how or why I got into Jimi Hendrix, but I do remember the first bit of Hendrix vinyl I bought.
Is it in here?
Yeah, it should be the compilation of Axis Bold of Love and... Yeah, it's back here. Axis Bold of Love and Are You Experienced? It was a double album put together. It was actually two separate early albums of Hendrix.
Yeah.
And I just really like them. You've got the early band. I mean, the early band Are You Experienced is basically some form of Castles in the Sun. They're doing really tunes, shall we say, you could call them, that would be fine for the popular market. But then really at the end of Axis he's starting to break away, and then that goes into Electric Ladyland where Hendrix is just himself.
Yeah.
Basically, I think there's Smash Hits in there, which is the first Hendrix collection, then it goes Are You Experienced, Bold as Love. And then there's a lot of other, well, I used to have lots and lots and lots of Hendrix, which were just essentially, that's Smash Hits was the first, then you've got Are You Experienced, Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland. These are a lot of albums that are put together after Hendrix is dead.
Yes, well.
Really, there's not much that actually, increases the oeuvre of Jimmy. That was a cover Jimmy didn't like. He didn't actually want that cover put out in Europe. And
it's a bit cheesy, though.
He just wasn't for it at all.
Really?
But I mean, a couple of great albums.
Lovely.
Electric Ladyland, Slight Repeats or whatever. Really enjoyed them. Now those go together well. I don't think we can find it at the moment to get our hands on it, but I've got a lovely, it cost 50p, and a Music for Pleasure recording of Hendrix playing with Curtis Knight in a bar in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yes.
And Hendrix is just being a session player. You can hear the guy sitting in the bar chatting away, drinking and everything else, and Hendrix is just doing Chitlin blues, R&B standards, Bright Lights, Big City, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And then Curtis lets him have his head, and he just produces sort of a Hendrix medley, which is just fantastic. But and for me, it's just what I pick up out of it. There's one of the songs there, where, one of the pieces he goes into, and essentially it's They Call Me the Hunter, which then comes to another album I've got there, which brings me to Free Tons of Subs. They were early 60s, Paul Kossoff, etc. And they essentially take that song, The Hunter, and they do it in their way. So you've got Hendrix playing The Hunter, which is an old R&B standard. It's picked up by this UK band. They do their version of The Hunter. And then actually you hit into Led Zeppelin.
Which, yes.
Where they do their version of The Hunter, but they've by that stage tightened up that American. They've taken what Free were doing, which was tightening up the American rhythm and blues stuff. They're bringing it into sort of European British, and Zeppelin really nail it. They just get this absolutely tight and right.
Yeah.
And there we are. Suddenly we've got British rock. Modern British rock. It's just that to me is that little story from that song, The Hunter, Hendrix, Chitlin Circuit, before he's come to Britain, before he's made his name, and then on the other end of it you've got then Hendrix taking essentially rocking the guitar sideways with things on Electric Ladyland. Sort of Voodoo Child, Slight Return, whatever. And it's just beautiful music in its own way, and it's just a complete genre of its own. But anyway, that's me waxing lyrical about that sort of nonsense.
Well, actually, what I'll try and do is I'll try and slip those 3 in, and then have them going when we get to this wee bit.
But I mean, the other thing, I think we were talking about when the camera was down. It was just, I was thinking of all the media that I've had over the years. You know, there was the 8-track stereo, which is a dreadful thing. You'd be halfway through a song and it would stop because there wasn't enough space in the tape, and you'd then have to reverse the tape, and the song would pick up 3/4 of the way through, and nothing was ever satisfactory.
Yes.
Then you'd got the jolly old. I mean, it was dead versatile tape. You know, the standard cassette tape, which worked really well, except if you use it too much, it got worn and stretchy, and sound quality wasn't very good. Then, essentially, the compact, or the DVD, the digital versatile disc. Well, it was the compact disc first of all. I'm looking back at it. The only thing I still actually have is the vinyl.
A big pile of it.
Yeah, all the rest of the stuff has got lost. It's got broken. CDs never delivered what they promised, which was good sound and they would last forever. Even the digital media I've downloaded from various music sites over the years from where they come up, that's vanished on different machines and different logins. But the only stuff that I have that's permanent, that's mine, that no one can come around and say, sorry, our licensing terms have changed, even though you've paid us for it, you can't have it anymore. It's vinyl. And you got that tactile feel, I mean the smell of the vinyl and that flat platter and the
There is a smell.
You know, the rituals around it of having that special little felt fuzzy thing and everything else, cleaning the vinyl, the dust off. Oh, it was all great fun. And the artwork of the covers. But the vinyl's still here. The rest of the stuff's vanished.
Yes, because like those characteristics, you know, you could say, oh, that doesn't mean anything, but it clearly does, because you press and play on your laptop through a set of laptop speakers, you know, it's not going to stay with you forever. The way that you have remembered and still carry out that series of actions, because it's enjoyable. And a lot of musicians want you to listen to the music, regardless if you say the album's dead. People still want you to listen to music. So you clearing that time to put a record on, it might only be 30 seconds if you're a pro at it, you know, and you're listening to records all the time. It's no worse than picking a CD to play. It's easier, you know.
No, it sets the scene. I am now going to listen to some music.
I can still do what I'm doing around the house, but you're my focus. I'm listening to you usually, and
I mean, there's certain music that's fantastic. A friend of mine, well, maybe it's I keep forgetting about it every now and then, to actually do the housework and tidy a house up. But when she's doing her housework, it's Metaguru by T-Rex. She does all her housework to T-Rex because it's the most fantastic housework music there's ever been.
It's got a housewife beat.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I don't know why, but yeah. So it's that whole ritual of sitting down there.
We had, what's this, Jimmy one here, isn't it?
That's, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's basically another
Cry of Love.
Cry of Love. It's essentially, again, studio released. I mean, there's stuff being recorded in the studios, so they decided to release it to make a few pounds off it again.
I know, you know, there's a lot of recordings there for a guy who was short recording career and touring career. There's a lot there.
Yeah, short time, but absolutely splendid.
So, a couple of other choices from your own.
Yeah. Hoagland. Just, what can you say, really? A bunch of maniacs who, in today's terms, what you would describe as they're just playing trance music. I mean, it is early trance music, and it's that whole being with the crowd, nodding, getting into the trance and the light show, and just going with it, and it's fantastic. And I really enjoyed it, and probably anyone who got into their house for trance, you know, when they were 17, 18, they're listening to their music of today, which will last with them forever because it was great.
Yeah.
To me, this is Space Ritual. It was just that. It's just absolutely fantastic.
It's funny,
of its time.
you know, because that's a very good sales pitch you know, because that makes it sound really interesting, you know. And you know, the problem with that music is that, you know, it killed itself, you know,
Yeah.
the whole genre. But I suppose if you want to pick one point to just listen and enjoy it, maybe is that it then? Is that the
That's
jumping
it.
on and jumping off point?
Just jumping in, jumping off point. I mean, it doesn't go any further.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Hawkwind didn't go any further. I mean, they went to America and didn't get sort of past the first third of it before they ran out of money. They were completely busted. Yeah, it was just a huge stage show. Lots of rhythm, lots of trance music. Before we'd even got the concept of just having a DJ up there playing some vinyl, they were doing it live on stage. Nothing fantastic, but it's just jolly good fun.
I may give it a go because I don't think I've ever listened to it. I know what they sound like from 101 like clips,
Yeah.
but I have never listened to the song. I assumed I never would. Should I really kill myself if I do? Like,
No, you shouldn't. I mean, it's certainly worth one listen at least, and
all right, well I will give it one listen.
you know, it builds up.
Well, I sort of tortured you earlier on by playing that song from the Swans' new album because
The Swans and that they're not a kick in the arse.
yeah,
Different, really.
you know, I kept trying to say, oh no, they're darker, but they're this, but they're that. But you know, I kind of know what you're saying. So
You know, it's where you. I think we all have a need for a bit of what would you call it, trance.
yeah,
I mean, we all have a bit of a need for
The
that. And
natural
I mean, that was my generation's offering to it.
well, I think that's a good way of putting it. I've never heard it put like that too.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you'll convince somebody tonight.
And here we have the marvelous Carlos Santana, and everyone had to have Moonflower. 'Cause, I mean, it does have some fantastic tracks on it. He's a great guitar player, and I have absolutely no background knowledge about Santana except it's basically European music, or I would describe it as European music. It's that whole European world music beat that comes across. It's completely different from where we are in the UK and possibly the US, I feel. And I just loved some of the clarity of the guitar playing and the songs and the way it was put together in Europa, and it's just great.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have anything else by Carlos Santana. Just
Pick there.
Moonflower does everything for me. I did go to see Carlos play at the Reading. No, it wasn't Reading. It was Nebworth. Album covers were great those days. He was playing with John McLaughlin, which was all I read of the Enemy and the Saints. And I missed the bit where it said John McLaughlin and Carlos Santana were playing with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. And it was basically the Mahavishnu Orchestra with Carlos Santana and John McLaughlin being Indian musicians. And
All right.
the crowd got up and left after the first 15 minutes. The queues for the burger vans just got unbelievable because it just wasn't what anyone was expecting.
But you have to see it anyway.
Yeah, but it's worth seeing them. The best band at it, and again, it's stuff, the vinyl that isn't here, that's actually at other people's houses. The ones I really enjoyed, best show band as well, actually was a sensational Alex Harvey band.
Oh yes.
And they were just fantastic. Their set was just unreal. And almost, yeah, and the guitar player was out kissing Kiss before Kiss became Kiss, dressed up in a snake suit and everything else, and the way they just entered the stage. The sensational Alex Harvey band were fantastic, except of course Alex died too early.
We also span these two, but again, you mentioned like the Frank Sinatra and the two of them who basically sound the same. So I give them both a spin once, and they're both, you know,
Yeah, well,
harmless. They were great records, like.
they are. I mean, it's French. Jacques Brel's in Belgium, but he really broke in France. It's essentially a European French way of singing and telling stories.
Yeah.
Jake Thackeray, Yorkshireman. After he left university, went to teach in Paris. Really liked the style of Jacques Brel, and Thackeray brought it back to the UK. The rest of the UK got to know Thackeray because he then got on a TV programme with
Right.
Esther Ransom. And once a week, and he would sing his songs, and we all thought they were terribly witty and funny, but not realising that actually it was a very French genre
How long it existed.
That long existing type of singing. I like to think he's very funny. I think he's also a very good musician, and I love his cynicism.
That's always good.
Yes.
I think you also had a wee white album in there, and we were talking about that movie Boyhood, and the Black Album, which it talks about doing of all the Beatles solo material, doing a compilation of it. And it's really good, it's really funny, so we listened to a few of those tonight, and the Beatles are one of those bands that obviously I did expect to see it, but a nice record to see in there, and none of the shite compilation, you just straight to a quality one, so...
Yeah, it's a damn good album.
I'll take it home with me. Nice condition, it's not numbered, but I'll accept it, as a loan copy.
And again, I mean, all the stock really is from the gramophone shop, which was basically a shop with big tubs full of vinyl, lettered, by the alphabet. It wasn't by artist. Booze, telephone booze you could walk into, telephone type covers, and you'd wander up, you'd wander up with the sleeve because there was nothing in the sleeves, and you'd come in, say, and some nice young man would come behind the counter and go and find you a bit of vinyl, put it on a deck and play it in booth 4, and you could listen to it. And I was about to say it wasn't exactly a social hub. I mean, people went in and out, but there's no facilities like have a cup of coffee or be social at all. There was no encouragement to stay. It was come in, listen to something, give us your money, and bugger off.
I don't think that concept had fully arrived at that time.
Yeah, I'd been up to Amsterdam in about 1970 and was taken with Amsterdam music shops, which basically had bin bags and headphone sets and coffee and lie around and chill out.
True.
Never really thought of that, put that together, but I mean, yeah.
Another business decision that passed you by there?
No, but the thing about it is, no one ever put that form of record shop together in Belfast.